Welcome to all of you. To introduce the Dvar Malchus, I think we have to go back a little bit. I don't know how many of you were around at that time. However, it came in a very pregnant moment in Chabad history. The Rabbi came back from the Oel, Ches Nisan, and he gave a sikha which shocked everybody. I mean, from the moment that sikha was delivered on, Chabad Lubavitch changed radically. I don't want to chaz with that sikha entirely, but the classic words he said was, I've done everything I can, now it's up to you. Tut as basir ken, do everything that you could do to bring Mashiach now. For 2 weeks, a week and a half from that sikha to the Shabbos after, the sikha was delivered Thursday night, the Shabbos afterwards, the Rebbe barely spoke about it, about the subject. The Shabbos, a week after that, the Rebbe explained exactly what he meant. We have to learn Inyanei Geulah Mashiach. This is the direct way to bring about Mashiach's coming. And he explained a little bit what he meant. When a person learns Geulah Mashiach, what does it mean to learn? Your teachers. You teach a child to write. You teach a child to read. You teach a child a skill which they didn't have. I remember when I walked into yeshiva for the first time, people started talk about learning. It struck me, I studied chemistry. I studied physics. I studied psychology. I didn't learn chemistry. I didn't learn physics. Here, I've got books in front of me, similar to those books. What does it mean I'm learning? I learned to ride, when I was a kid, I learned to ride a bike. When I got older, I learned to drive a car. Learning, psychology says, it's a change in behavior. It's not just getting knowledge. So what does it mean to learn? And specifically, what does it mean to learn Inyanei Geulah Mashiach, to learn about Mashiach? But that's precisely the thing. Learning has to change your behavior. When a person learns Torah, he doesn't just have ideas that he's assimilated in his mind, he has changed his behavior, at least the way he looks at the world, and ultimately the way he feels and the way he acts, relates to others, tunes into the world around him. He's a different person. When the Rebbe said to learn Inyanei Geulah Mashiach, he meant simply to take our lives and put them through the eyes of Mashiach, to put on Mashiach glasses, to see the world as Mashiach would see it. It makes a whole difference in the way we relate to others, the way we start our days. Everything changes when we learn in that manner. And that's why the Rebbe said, this is the most direct path to bring about Mashiach's actual coming. Of course, all the other activities is to make Mashiach known and publicize his coming are important. But what's going to make the world different when we've learned Inyanei Geulah Mashiach and therefore internalize them to the point where our lives are different? Why? Because when a person starts living Mashiach, it's natural that the person next to him, his neighbor, his friend, is going to say, wow, he or she is different. I'd love to live my life that way. Those glasses through which they look at the world, they're beautiful. They give them a whole sense of happiness, of joy, of light, of depth and meaning that I wish I had. And one ripple makes another ripple until you have a giant wave. There's a concept of a trim tab. What does that mean? They used to steer ships they still do steer ships with rudders. But when you have a small motorboat, a rudder is very small and you can control it with your own hands. When you have a huge ship, the rudder is very large and it's very hard to move. So what do they do with the big ships? They have several rudders, a small one, and then a larger one, then a larger one, and the small rudder moves the larger rudder, which moves the larger rudder, which moves the larger rudder, which ultimately moves the whole ship. Each one of us can be one of those trim tabs, one of those small rudders. When we start to make the waves in our own households, in our own little neighborhood, in our own communities, we end up making waves that is going to change the whole world. It's going to bring the world at large to a consciousness and an awareness that, oh, this is really a different world than we thought it was. It's the Eibishter's world. It's a dir b'tachtonim. We haven't recognized it until now, but now we do. That's what the Rebbe was trying to do when he says, learn Geulah Mashiach. And specifically the sichos which were chosen here, they're extremely unique in that, and in the four that are here, particularly the first two, they explain thoroughly and systematically what it really means. What is our conception of Mashiach? When we say Mashiach is going to come, what do we mean by that? What does it mean that, oh, there will be Mashiach? We're looking for just a leader? Are we looking for a miracle worker? What are we looking for? The Rebbe takes Rambam, explains, we're looking for someone who is going to make the world a Torah world. Going back to that sikha, I remember teaching it. And the Rebbe, specifically in that teaching, in that sikha, emphasizes no miracles, olam kamin hagonoheg, the world will continue in its natural pattern. Takes the example of Bar Kochba, as Rabbi Akiva thought Bar Kochba was Mashiach. So was the world, the miracles when Bar Kochba was leading his army against the Romans? No. There were impressive victories, but no miracles. And that's Rambam's example, and the Rebbe builds on it, explaining that Mashiach is not, we're not expecting miracles from Mashiach. We're expecting him to restore the Torah, to make the world a Torah place. I remember teaching that, and people say, wait a second, only that? That's all Mashiach is? The Rebbe say, no, that's exactly what Mashiach is. To make our world a world which operates according to Torah, lives in a manner which God wants it to live, and is therefore perfect in the way God wants. But what about miracles? What greater miracle is that man lives his life in a godly manner with depth, meaning, and purpose? And the second sikha, explaining that there are two periods in the era of Mashiach. The first one continuing the same theme, that Mashiach is not going to work miracles necessarily, but on the contrary, bring about Torah in our everyday life in a complete and perfect manner. And then when that is achieved, that will give way to a second period, a time when the dead will be resurrected and we'll see an entirely different plane of being. That teaches us the whole concept of dir b'tachtonim. That first, dir b'tachtonim is achieved by man through man's work. If it was achieved from miracles from above, it wouldn't be a complete dir b'tachtonim. So man, led by Mashiach, has to take this world according to its natural pattern and show that, oh, it's God's world. It's his home. It's his home. It's the place where he feels most comfortable. And then when he feels comfortable in his home, he'll usher in the second era, the era of Tchias HaMesim, when we'll see how in this world, it's really God's world. And the proof will be that there'll be a pattern of existence totally greater than man could possibly understand, man could possibly comprehend. And we all witness that speedily in our days, and may we ourselves be the catalyst to make it happen. There's a classic Hasidic story. The Tzemach Tzedek went to a conference of Jewish leaders and Tsarist authorities about Jewish education. There, the Tsarist authorities wanted to implement certain changes in the educational system. Tzemach Tzedek fought against their changes very powerfully, and to the point where he actually brought shrouds, tachrichim, with him, because he knew that his position could be endangered by the strength of his stance against the Tsarist authorities. And so therefore, on his way to that meeting, he was going from Lubavitch to Petersburg. So to go to the Alter Rebbe's kever in Haditch or to the Middle Rebbe's kever in Nezhin would be out of his way entirely, so he didn't. They stopped off at his mother's kever, which was semi on the way. He left a pan at his mother's kever. After, of course, we rip up a pan, but Chassidim, being Chassidim, after the Rebbe left, they took the pan and painstakingly pasted it together. And the Tzemach Tzedek wrote like this: I know a Yeshua Gadol is coming for Klal Yisrael. I know a great salvation is coming for the Jewish people. May it be your will that I have a chelik in it, that I have a part in it. Mashiach is coming. The Rebbe said it clearly. We can see all the signs around us. But our will and our request is to be an active part in it. And the fact that women are taking the initiative and joining together to learn in Inyanei Geulah Mashiach, that's taking a great major step in doing so. And may we all become trim tabs to lead the entire world to Mashiach's coming speedily in our days. Thank you very much.